This is KGW News at noon.
And thanks for joining us today. I'm Brenda Braxton. As Oregon hospitals deal with the worst of the COVID surge, the National Guard is once again stepping in. As Galen Etlin reports, between staffing shortages and Omicron, hospitals say they need all the help they can get.
Oregon's biggest hospital system has some new faces on campus.
This experience has been great.
Specialist Trevor Hoffman with the U.S. Army National Guard is helping OHSU kitchen staff.
Working with a skeleton crew.
Guard members also helped OHSU in August and September during the Delta coronavirus surge. FEMA has now funded about 100 Guard members to again work non-medical jobs at the hospital and help staff through the Omicron surge.
They're exhausted. And you can see it, but you could just see the relief in their faces when they saw us here.
We can't say enough just how grateful OHSU is.
Banning Hendricks with OHSU says Guard members are freeing up staff who have put in extra hours.
It allows them to be able to go home and spend time with their family and take care of themselves.
This deployment comes as Oregon hospitals care for more than 1,100 COVID patients, nearing the Delta peak of 1,200. Hundreds of other patients are waiting to be discharged or get a bed, and many hospitals are backlogged with non-COVID patients who had to put off treatments and surgeries during the pandemic.
How are you feeling through all of this?
There is certainly a level of fatigue, and having the National Guard come in is really just such a boost in that morale.
All the thank yous I was getting up and down the hall, that's humbling.
Guard members like Trevor Hoffman are thankful to give back.
I would do it a third or fourth time if it needs to be.
In Portland, I'm Galen Etlin for KGW News.
A new study from OHSU is shedding light on what's known as super immunity. It's a combination of getting vaccinated and getting the virus. Researchers studied 104 employee volunteers. Everyone got 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine. Then scientists took blood samples and they watched how antibodies responded when exposed to 3 different variants of COVID. They found getting infected and being fully vaccinated provided 10 times more protection.
The people that just got vaccinated alone, they had immune responses. The vaccine is very good. But if you have this sort of combination immunity that results from natural infection plus vaccination, the level of the immune response is dramatically higher.
That means if you get COVID, it's likely your symptoms will be milder than they would be otherwise. And then you're considered super immune afterwards. Researchers say those people will help push the pandemic into something more like a seasonal annoyance because there will be fewer people left to infect. Now to jobs and the economy. A lot of people are asking, where is everybody? There are so many open jobs right now. For every 10 openings, there are only 7 unemployed people to fill them. At the same time, Oregon's unemployment rate is low. It's basically back to where it was before the pandemic at 4.1%. Alma McCarty took a closer look at the numbers.
2 years ago, the pandemic forced closures and layoffs. Many filed for unemployment for the first time, trying to make ends meet while dealing with all of the other COVID-related challenges. Now, economists say things are on the rebound in a big way.
So the economy right now is in honestly really good shape.
Hiring has been really at full steam, particularly since the summer when Oregon employers reported a record number, 107,000 job openings just in the summer.
Josh Lehner and Gail Krimenauer are both economists for the state of Oregon. They explain 2021 ended with more than 100,000 job openings in the state. Prior to the pandemic recession, the largest number of job openings they'd ever seen was about 67,000 in the summer of 2017.
The biggest constraint in the economy right now is labor. It's harder to find workers today than it was, 2-3 years ago.
What that means if you're a job seeker is likely, if you're looking for a job, you could get multiple job offers and have the opportunity to take the one that has the best combination of wages, benefits, and perks and flexibility.
More jobs than unemployed people seeking work, and a current unemployment rate at 4.1%. Great for job seekers, harder for businesses. The demand for workers is driving up wages across the board, according to Lehner's latest report from the Office of Economic Analysis.
One of the tools that they've been using quite readily is raising wages to attract workers, right? The average wage in Oregon since the start of the pandemic is up 17%. On a full-time basis, that's equivalent of like $7,000 or $8,000 a year for the average Oregon worker, which is just a really big increase.
Kremenauer explains each industry has different difficulties in finding and retaining workers right now.
In some of them, it's just a lack of applicants. Employers are saying that they have too few or no applicants for their jobs. And then in other industries, and we talked about healthcare, this is a good example, they're more likely to require some sort of education beyond high school.
For the rest of 2022, Lehner predicts a steady statewide wage increase, though a bit slower than what we saw during the pandemic.
We do think labor supply, the number of people actively looking for a job, will increase, this year and next.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Washington restaurant owners are pushing for more pandemic relief. Some of them met with Senator Maria Cantwell yesterday. According to the Washington Hospitality Association, about 55% of restaurants that qualified for federal aid originally didn't get help because the program ran out of money. The group also says during the height of the pandemic, the average full-service restaurant was $160,000 in debt. Well, today, Oregon reopened its rental assistance program. It expects to help up to 9,000 people this time around. Once you're approved, you're protected from eviction, but you do need to show your landlord proof that you applied. This program is not first come, first serve. Instead, it'll give priority to households with the most need. If you'd like more information, head to our website, kgw.com. Well, next week, grab a bite and a beer for a great cause. 11 Vancouver tap houses and breweries are taking part in a fundraiser for a local nonprofit. The restaurants are partnering with the Police Activities League of Southwest Washington, or PAL for short. Every year, PAL has mentoring programs and summer camps, and it donates about 3,000 books to elementary school students. Jenny Thompson is the executive director of PAL.
A lot of our young people sometimes haven't realized their untapped potential. And so we have the awesome opportunity to walk alongside them and help them realize that untapped potential.
The Burgers, Bites, and Brews fundraiser runs from January 30th through February 5th. And if you visit 4 of the 11 establishments during the week, you're entered to win a prize. Okay, let's head back to the Weather Center for a second. Rod, it's cold outside this afternoon, but it was really cold this morning.
Yeah, a couple of combinations came together to make this the coldest start that we've had since we had been in this dry pattern, which still has a few days to go, by the way. But look at these numbers. These were low temps this morning. Hillsboro nosedived all the way to 21 degrees with clear skies. McMinnville was 25. 28 in downtown Portland, Vancouver, and Troutdale. 32, a little bit warmer up in Kelso. Dense fog in Scappoose, it was 31 degrees. Also, it was 28 in Tillamook, and that's after hitting 61 degrees yesterday afternoon. That's what you folks in Tillamook did back on Tuesday. Other numbers, of course, typical cold out east. There's Rome at 16 and Burns at 17 degrees. Well, like yesterday, we have beautiful blue skies over downtown Portland. We will warm up into the 40s. Right now it's 36. We're actually running 2 degrees cooler than 24 hours ago. Here's the visible satellite picture. A couple things to note. Now again, we have a temperature inversion. It's a very classic pattern that we see the East Gorge, the Dalles out into the Columbia Basin, overcast. Unlike yesterday, we have some of these clouds that are moving down into Central Oregon, Madras as well. South of Salem, there's some clouds, and then north of downtown Portland up into Longview. Just starting to see the clouds part a little bit up at Three Rivers Golf Course in the in the Kelso area. Sorry, couldn't come up with the name. 36 right now. We're going for temperatures 46 to 48 this afternoon. Everybody should clear out just like yesterday. Brenda?